If we're comparing both of these adaptations to the play, then the 1999 film is much closer to the original play, which, considering made for TV restraints and Disney tendencies to be very loosely based, that's saying something. It's not always good, though. I always thought it was a bit odd in the original Broadway production that Warbucks became so enamored with Amy so quickly after only having a musical number about NYC with her right after meeting her. Even if it is an awesome song. The original scene takes a bit more time with them and adds a couple more scenes in between them meeting and the adoption so that you get the idea that a bit more time had passed. In fact, I like that when they first meet, he doesn't just go with getting a girl when he thought all orphans are boys. He actually tries to get her sent back at first until Annie has to work a little bit of sweet-talking and guilt-tripping, unintentionally, to get him to agree.
I've got an interesting smile too, sir. Don't you think maybe you could learn to like me too, sir? Hang me in the bathroom?
Take them back now.
A change, on the other hand, I like and simultaneously don't like is that in the newer version, Miss Hannigan plays the role of Annie's fake mom instead of Lily, since both her and Rooster agree that Lily's too stupid for it and could easily screw it up.
Lily's out.
And I'm in. Sorry, sister.
Which ends up coming back to bite them when Lily ends up screwing it up anyway when the kids trick her into exposing them. However, I have to question, why doesn't Grace recognize Miss Hannigan in that outfit? No, you know what? It's even worse. Why doesn't Annie recognize her? She's lived with her for 10 years. She should be able to recognize this woman in drag, much less this outfit.
Wait, I just want more look at my sweet angel. She's a dream. A dream.
On the other hand, there are several things in the original that do kind of date this film. And yes, I know it's set in the 30s, so it should be dated, but I'm referring to it dating itself not in the film's time period, but in the time period the film was made in, the 80s. The acting can be a bit too cheesy sometimes, and not just when it's supposed to be, and not just with Annie herself.
I appreciate you coming down. It means a great deal.
And a lot of the scenes happen out of order compared to the original play. Sometimes it's okay, and sometimes not. For instance, when Rooster and Lily first show up, it's only introduced themselves, and they're here for less than 2 minutes. Kinda pointless, really. Plus, they rob Miss Hannigan. So why, when they see her again, does she not remember that? You could say it's because of the plan that Rooster has, the fact that they're brother and sister, but come on. This woman will scream, "Kill!" if someone even makes fun of her. And despite Burnett being a ton of fun, I don't buy it all that these kids can't have escaped her right now. Especially Pepper, who looks like she could probably floor Miss Hannigan with one shot. And this one's more of a nitpicker because it's not the film's fault since it actually happened in real life sometimes, but why is there a ventriloquist on the radio show? What is the point? Also, while I suppose it's likely for a rich man like Warbucks to sometimes be a target for terrorist attacks, the explanation given isn't a very good one.
Who'd want to kill Mr. Warbucks?
The Bolsheviks, dear. He's living proof that the American system really works, and the Bolsheviks don't want anybody to know about that.
Because a guy like Warbucks, the richest guy in pretty much the world, gets killed, everyone's gonna forget about him like that, right?
You'd think certain things would be easier to explain in the original, since it's a theatrical movie and it's a little over 2 hours long, as opposed to the new version, which isn't even an hour and a half. But there's a few too many things that kinda get glossed over. Annie isn't even told that her parents are dead. I thought it was pretty clever and cruel that Miss Hannigan had actually known herself for years that they were dead and not told Annie about it, allowing her to hope for something that would never happen, while at the same time making it seem more likely that she'd want to stay at the orphanage if her parents ever came back. But Annie never actually gets told they're dead on screen. It's just a throwaway line said by Miss Hannigan, that's it.
Well, years and years ago, our parents were killed in a fire, and the cops brought me all their junk.
In the newer version, she is told this at the ending. And while she does get over it a little too quickly, it makes a bit of sense, as she does say she sort of knew all along that they were dead.
See, I always knew my parents loved me. And they'd come back for me. If they were alive.
And yeah, speaking of the ending...
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about the original ending, but, you know, I've been building it up for so long. Let's talk about the endings.
Now, the original play ends with Rooster, Lily, and Miss Hannigan being arrested and Annie being adopted by Warbucks. The newer film ends basically the same way, except that Miss Hannigan actually has an entertaining breakdown and gets committed instead.
the squirrels. There I'll stay tucked away till the prohibition of legal girls.
And the 82 film's ending? Ugh. Let's break it down a bit.
Rooster, Lily, and Miss Hannigan manage to get away with Annie and the check and drive off. The kids spot the car and they spot Sandy in the back of it, yet for some reason they don't spot Annie inside of it, and the dog leads them to the Warbucks mansion.
Then they actually let her out of the car to use the bathroom, which of course results in her giving them the slip with the check. Then she rips up the check as she continues running. Lily tries to salvage the check. Rooster, in something of an extreme, actually tries to kill her, and Miss Hannigan tries to save her. What?
This woman has despised, enslaved, tormented, and beaten Annie for the past 10 years, and she's actually trying to save her? It'd be fine if she was the one trying to kill Annie and Rooster was trying to stop her, seeing as he just got out of prison, and it'd probably be pretty easy to convict him if he did manage to kill her. But no, she's trying to save her. Look at this. Rooster's so disgusted by this plot twist that he knocks her out. Now, you could make the argument that after housing her for that elongated amount of time, she had grown attached to her in some way and it even had a bit of a motherly effect on her. But I honestly don't buy it. She clearly hates all these kids, most of all Annie. Besides, she didn't object earlier when Rooster said this line.
And the kid will drop in the river.
Yeah, why is she now suddenly chickening out? And she isn't even punished in the least for her crimes against the orphans or her implication in this crime. No, she gets rewarded at the end. She might even be dating Punjab. Why? Did the filmmakers decide they liked her character so much they wanted her to be redeemed? Because the reason she was liked so much is because of how pathetically evil she was. Did Carol Burnett not want to climb the huge suspended railroad bridge? Oh yeah, and let's talk about that. As the climax builds, Rooster chases Annie by following her climbing up a hundreds of feet tall suspended railroad bridge.
What the hell? This is Annie, not a B-list action movie.
And think about what would happen if the stunt girl climbing didn't have a good grip.
Alright, people, we're gonna need another Annie. Molly? Duffy? Pepper?
And what about when he actually catches up with her? He hangs on to her forever. Why hasn't he dropped her at this point? She could ID him. Not that he could get away at this point. And why does he choose to wait until the helicopter is about 2 feet from him to back off? And why is he just fine after falling hundreds of feet even if it isn't to a fire safety net? And why is it that Punjab personally saves Annie in the end, not Warbucks or even Grace? And why does it look like Punjab's being hung in this shot?
And why is Miss Hannigan suddenly redeemed? I'm sorry, I shouldn't harp on it, but I really despise this ending. It's stupid, it's nonsensical, it might make sense in like a Schwarzenegger movie, but not in Annie. How do you think Miss Hannigan would react if you told her this ending?
Would you excuse me?
So yeah, for as much things can be pushed aside and at times rushed in the newer one, it really does have a smoother story. And I have to give it the point here. It's just true to the original material, flows better, and doesn't have a totally screwed up ending.
Point goes to the 1999 Annie, the superior film.
What?
Oh, I love you, Miss Hannigan?
Shut up.
Won't you please come get your baby? Maybe.
Well, that's my comparison of the 1982 and 1999 Annie movies, and despite the fact that I prefer the new one, do I still like the original? Of course!
It's still a very enjoyable film to watch, and performances like Albert Finney and Carol Burnett still make it a ton of fun. It doesn't mesh as well as the newer film, but I'll still find myself watching it a lot.
Which I'm sure is more than I'll be able to say for the one they're making right now. With the guy that directed ECA, and Jamie Foxx as not Warbucks, and Cameron Diaz as Miss Hannigan.
Sure, will you excuse me for one moment, please?
And new songs written by Jay-Z. Damn it, Will Smith, this is all your fault!
Bob
blow it out your old wazoo.